So, the new Star Wars movie came out and it was good. If you're wondering whether it's worth seeing or not, I'd say it is. It's a very enjoyable popcorn flick that will keep you entertained, but the film has definite flaws. And yes, I think The Force Awakens does work better than this film. A lot of people will disagree with me on that statement, and I can understand why. There's one specific reason I enjoyed The Force Awakens more, which will be explained in this review. Anyways, let's dive a little deeper. Let's start with the good. The film's cinematography is great. There are some amazing shots in this film, and director Gareth Edwards did well with the scope of the film. The Imperial ships and the Death Star all felt extremely large, something that wasn't really done in the original Star Wars film. This film does well in making the Empire feel imposing and dominant. The brilliant directing and cinematography made the film very engaging to watch and nice to look at. Besides one area which involved cameos, the CGI in the film was flawless. The ships in the Death Star all look like models, and every effect works so well that I was kind of left floored by the whole experience. This film is gorgeous to look at, is what I'm saying. The film was shot well, and the special effects are spectacular. Not once did I think a ship was obvious CGI. The effects are easily some of the best used in Star Wars. The action sequences were pretty good too. They were engaging and shot well, with each action set piece being different enough from the others to make it stand out and be fresh. Even though I'm not someone bothered by shaky cam and cutting, I enjoyed the fact that this film avoided it and was shot in a way where you could clearly see what was going on very easily. The action had good atmosphere and had a more sense of realism and danger to it when compared to the original trilogy, for example. I really liked this as it created more tension in the film. The performances were also pretty good. I was actually a little worried with Felicity Jones after seeing some of the trailers, but in the actual film she did a good job. Donnie Yen and Alan Tudyk were the standout performances for me as well. Every actor did well, and not once was I taken out of the film by a performance. Darth Vader was pretty awesome in this film, although I think they should have made him the main villain of the film. But what they did with him in the time he had were some of the best parts of the film. Particularly a scene he has near the end of the film was the best part of the film for me. Trust me, if you're a Darth Vader fan, you will enjoy this scene, and you'll know which one I'm talking about when you see the film. Just be careful with how much Vader you expect to see in this film, though. Right? If you expect too much, you'll be disappointed. But, as much good as there is in the film, it is not flawless. Let's look at the bad. The first act of this film feels a little choppy to me. There's a lot of jumping around, and it feels a little jarring. There's a lot to establish at the start. They've got a lot of characters to bring out, and the film suffers a little because of it. While I don't think this is a huge problem, it was noticeable. Thankfully, the film picks up once the second act begins, and it manages to avoid this problem for the rest of the film. This is probably the biggest problem. The main characters weren't really that interesting, unfortunately. As opposed to The Force Awakens, I didn't feel myself really caring that much for the main characters. Even though they were well acted, I think they needed more time to develop. The main character, Jim, was the only one with proper development, whilst the other characters felt a little bland. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad characters, but they needed some more fleshing out so I could care for them more. The Force Awakens benefited from having less new main characters, so they had time to develop Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren more. I'd say this is the biggest flaw of the movie, definitely, as it meant there was a lack of stakes at times because I didn't fully care if a character might die or not. I think Rogue One would have benefited from having a smaller cast of heroes, so more time could have gone into developing them more thoroughly. In the end, Rogue One was pretty good as the first Star Wars Anthology film, and I'm actually kind of excited to see the ones that will follow this. This film did things differently, particularly because it didn't revolve around any Jedi or even any Sith, since Vader is only a minor character in the film, which was, new. It's not a battle between Jedi and Sith or anything. There's some interesting ideas put forward as well about how the rebellion isn't all good either, and there's a bit of a moral grey area, and I also enjoyed some inside jokes and callbacks to the original Star Wars. I never felt too devoted to Star Wars either, so for those who didn't like The Force Awakens for how similar it was to A New Hope, then you should be able to enjoy this film. Overall, Rogue One was a pretty good first entry in the Anthology series, and I like what Disney have done so far with Star Wars. If I had to say which I enjoyed more, I'd say The Force Awakens mainly because I was more invested in the characters and was more enthralled by the whole experience, but even then that's pretty subjective, and I can understand why a lot of people enjoyed Rogue One more. And as I said, Rogue One is still a definitely fun ride. It was still a great film. I'm going to give Rogue One a fresh rating, 7.5 out of 10. Tell me in the comments what you thought of Rogue One and where you'd rank it in comparison to the other Star Wars films. Also, if you want more Groovy content, you can subscribe for more movie reviews, fan trailers, and rant videos. Have a good day, everyone. Peace out.